an electric car milestone that some of you in the Southwest can actually drive home right now.
History in the making. The car of tomorrow, today.
Whoa! Throughout history, inventions like the light bulb, the telephone, and the internet have transformed our lives, changing the way we interact with the world. But behind these widely celebrated advancements, there exist much more revolutionary technologies that never came to light. Why? Because they were silenced, blocked, or even erased from history. From innovations that could have solved the global energy crisis to medical discoveries that could have saved millions of lives, these inventions were pushed into the shadows by the greed of large corporations, government secrecy, or the distrust of conventional science. The inventors behind them, far from being celebrated, faced threats, persecution, and cruel oblivion. In this video, we unveil 10 of the most suppressed technologies that could have changed the course of humanity. Some never saw the light of day, while others still struggled to be recognized. Get ready to discover what they never told us. Number 10. The Tucker Automobile. The Tucker 48, also known as the Tucker Torpedo, is much more than a simple automobile. It represents a true legend of innovation in the automotive industry that, unfortunately, was cut short by corporate interests and legal challenges. Conceived by Preston Tucker, a visionary automotive entrepreneur, the Tucker 48 debuted in 1946 with a series of revolutionary features that defied the standards of the time. This vehicle stood out for its rear-engine layout, an unusual choice at a time when most cars had the engine located at the front. This configuration not only improved weight distribution, providing better stability and handling, but it also allowed for a more aerodynamic and aesthetically attractive design. In addition to the rear engine, the Tucker 48 incorporated disc brakes on all wheels, an innovation that offered superior braking capability compared to traditional drum brakes, significantly improving vehicle safety. Another standout feature was the pop-up windshield, designed to automatically adjust in case of a collision, providing greater protection to the occupants and improving aerodynamics when not needed. However, what really captured the public's imagination were the three headlights of the vehicle, including a central headlight dubbed the Cyclops Eye. This third headlight rotated in sync with the steering wheel, illuminating curves and improving visibility in low-light conditions, foreshadowing modern technologies like adaptive headlights. Despite the public's enthusiasm and the high level of innovation, the Tucker Corporation faced serious financial problems from the outset. Preston Tucker's business model, which included selling dealership rights and pre-orders for vehicles not yet manufactured, generated distrust among investors and financial institutions. This situation was exacerbated when the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, initiated an investigation into the company's financial practices, accusing Tucker of fraud and mismanagement of funds. Many believe these accusations were motivated by the interests of large automobile corporations that saw the Tucker 48 as a potential threat to their market dominance. The large automotive companies of the time, fearing the competition represented by the innovative Tucker 48, allegedly exerted significant pressure to discredit and dismantle Preston Tucker's company. Rumors suggest that smear campaigns and legal actions were carried out to hinder the production and distribution of the vehicle. In 1949, after producing only 51 units, the company closed its doors, and the Tucker 48 disappeared into the darkness. However, its legacy endures. Today, the Tucker 48 is considered an icon of automotive history, a symbol of what could have been if the forces of innovation had not been hindered by commercial interests. The few surviving examples are highly valued by collectors and enthusiasts, and Preston Tucker's spirit continues to inspire generations of engineers and entrepreneurs to pursue their visions despite challenges. Number 9. Bruce De Palma's N Machine. In the 1970s, a former MIT researcher, Bruce De Palma, introduced the world to an invention that challenged the established notions of conventional physics, the N machine. This revolutionary device was based on the premise that empty space is imbued with unexplored energy that could be harnessed efficiently. De Palma argued that it was possible to generate more energy than was consumed by tapping into environmental energy using a magnetized spinning wheel as the core of its design. The N machine operated with a magnetized gyroscope that, when set into motion, supposedly extracted energy from the vacuum of space. De Palma believed that, according to some interpretations of quantum physics, there existed a form of energy that was not accounted for by traditional theories. This energy, often referred to as zero-point energy, could be exploited to generate electricity efficiently and sustainably, eliminating the need for external energy sources such as fossil fuels or nuclear power. The proposed operation of the N machine involved magnetizing a spinning wheel that, by maintaining its motion, would create an energy field that exceeded the energy initially invested in getting it started. De Palma claimed that this process allowed for continuous electricity generation without significant energy loss, leading to a virtually inexhaustible energy source. Despite the innovative promise of the N machine, De Palma's experimental results were inconsistent. While some initial tests showed an increase in energy generation, they failed to reliably reproduce the efficiency levels claimed. Skeptics quickly dismissed the N machine as a perpetual motion machine, a category of devices that supposedly violate established laws of thermodynamics. The National Bureau of Standards and other scientific institutions conducted thorough evaluations of the N machine and concluded that it did not produce the amount of energy that De Palma had claimed. These conclusions significantly diminished institutional interest and support for the project, relegating the N machine to the realm of fringe theories and alternative science. Nonetheless, Bruce De Palma and his followers continued to defend the viability of the N machine, arguing that the observed limitations were due to an incomplete understanding of the underlying physics and the lack of advanced technology to fully exploit vacuum energy. The N machine became a symbol of the relentless search for new energy sources and resistance to the opposition of conventional science. Today, the N machine remains a topic of debate among free energy enthusiasts and alternative researchers. While it has not achieved the scientific validation necessary for widespread acceptance, its legacy endures as a reminder of the boundaries still to be explored in the field of energy. Bruce De Palma's story and his N machine inspire those who believe in the possibility of discovering new forms of energy that could radically transform our dependence on traditional resources, keeping alive the hope for technological advances that challenge the current limitations of physics. Number 8. The Hendershot Generator. In the 1920s, an American inventor named Lester Hendershot introduced a revolutionary idea that, if proven effective, would have radically transformed the global energy landscape. His invention, known as the Hendershot Generator, promised to generate electricity independently, using only the Earth's magnetic field as an energy source. This innovative device suggested a definitive solution to the growing demand for energy, eliminating the need for traditional fuels such as coal, oil, or natural gas. The early demonstrations of the Hendershot generator were impressive and captured the attention of both the scientific community and the public. It was claimed that his generator could power light bulbs, motors, and other electrical devices without the need for an external power source. These initial demonstrations sparked hope for an energy revolution that could provide a clean, infinite, and accessible energy source for all. However, the initial enthusiasm was quickly overshadowed by doubts and skepticism. Critics within the scientific community began to question the feasibility of the generator, arguing that it did not align with known laws of physics and thermodynamics. Some scientists attempted to replicate Hendershot's invention, but their efforts were unsuccessful, leading many to conclude that the Hendershot generator did not work as he had promised. In addition to scientific criticism, Hendershot faced external pressures that further complicated his situation. It is speculated that large energy corporations, fearing that this invention could displace their lucrative conventional energy sources, took steps to discredit Hendershot and his generator. These actions included smear campaigns and supporting research that debunked the generator's efficacy. The final blow for Hendershot came in the 1960s, when he sought support from the United States Navy with a detailed proposal for his generator. Despite having developed operational models that partially demonstrated its functionality, the project was rejected by military authorities. Shortly after, in 1961, Hendershot was found dead under mysterious circumstances. Officially, his death was classified as a suicide, but the suspicious circumstances and conspiracy theories have kept controversy surrounding his disappearance alive. It is rumored that Hendershot may have faced pressure to abandon his research, adding a layer of mystery to his tragic story. The case of Lester Hendershot and his Hendershot Generator remains a warning about the dark interests that often block the advancement of disruptive technologies. Although today the generator has been forgotten by many, it remains an emblematic example of how energy innovations can be crushed by powerful forces seeking to preserve the status quo. Hendershot's legacy inspires inventors and visionaries to continue pursuing bold ideas, despite the seemingly insurmountable obstacles they may face. Number 7. The structural cavitation effect. In the 1980s, a self-taught Russian entomologist named Viktor Grebennikov made such an extraordinary discovery that, if true, it could have revolutionized our understanding of physics and modern technology. Grebennikov, deeply fascinated by insects and their structures, identified what he called the structural cavitation effect, CSE, a phenomenon that, according to his observations, could have anti-gravitational applications. It all began in the vast Siberian steppe, where Grebennikov, while studying a colony of bees, experienced a series of unusual symptoms: headaches, ringing in his ears, and a metallic taste in his mouth. Intrigued by these sensations, the researcher began to carefully examine the bees' nests and the geometric structures of insect shells. His analysis led him to the conclusion that these formations could generate a force field capable of interacting with Earth's gravity. Grebennikov observed that the repetitive and ordered pattern of the shells seemed to create a sort of anti-gravity, challenging known physical laws. Motivated by his findings, Grebennikov developed a device based on the CSSE that supposedly could fly thanks to this anti-gravitational effect. The apparatus consisted of a platform equipped with thousands of insect shells arranged in a specific way, which, according to him, allowed a person to fly at speeds of up to 1,500 kilometers per h and reach heights of up to 300 meters. Additionally, he claimed that the device would not only negate gravity, but also render the pilot invisible, neutralizing inertia and dynamic pressure, allowing for flight without air resistance. Despite the impressiveness of his theories and preliminary experiments, Grebennikov faced strong resistance from the scientific community. In 1992, he attempted to patent his invention, but the application was rejected due to a lack of conclusive evidence and widespread disbelief in his claims. Nevertheless, far from giving up, Grebennikov decided to document his discoveries in a book, including photographs and diagrams of his device in operation. However, before its publication, the manuscript was mysteriously altered. Hundreds of key photos and diagrams disappeared, making it difficult to understand and replicate his work. The circumstances surrounding the alteration of his book have generated numerous speculations. Some theorists suggest that scientific institutions and government agencies may have considered his discoveries too disruptive or dangerous to the status quo, leading to a supposed suppression of his work. Although the official scientific community does not recognize the CSSE or the anti-gravitational applications proposed by Grebennikov, his story continues to circulate in alternative science circles and conspiracy theories. The structural cavitation effect remains one of the most fascinating and controversial enigmas in the history of science. While some see it as a pioneering exploration of new energy and physical frontiers, others consider it a combination of misinterpreted observations and unfounded speculations. Regardless of the truth behind Grebennikov's claims, his legacy inspires those who seek to challenge current scientific limitations and explore possibilities beyond the conventional. Number 6. The radiant energy device. In the 1930s, during a period of great scientific and technological advancements, an electrical engineer and physicist named T. Henry Moore introduced to the world an invention that would challenge the limits of science as we knew it. Moore, a self-taught pioneer with a unique vision, designed the radiant energy device, which he claimed could capture and convert an invisible and inexhaustible source of cosmic energy into usable electricity. Inspired by the electromagnetic theories of Nikola Tesla and other scientists of the time, Moore based his invention on the premise that the space around us is filled with cosmic energy that, if harnessed correctly, could provide an endless source of power. By building a device that captured this radiant energy, Moore claimed that he could generate electricity without relying on any conventional source like coal or oil. Moore's device was equipped with a special valve, along with a semiconductor material designed to absorb this radiant energy. In his demonstrations, he managed to power various devices such as radios, lights, and motors, without needing to connect to any external energy source. The displays were spectacular, and witnesses claimed to have seen the device working in an apparently magical way. However, the skepticism of the scientific community was immediate. Many experts questioned Moore's claims, arguing that his device violated the laws of thermodynamics and that radiant energy could not be captured and converted into electricity so efficiently. Furthermore, the lack of clear explanations about the fundamental principles behind his invention only fueled the doubts. Moore, however, defended his work and maintained his position that his technology could revolutionize the way we generate and consume energy. In his accounts, he also mentioned having been subjected to sabotage and threats from powerful entities within the energy sector, who saw his invention as a direct threat to their interests. According to Moore, these forces attempted to stop his progress through violent threats, raids on his laboratory, and damage to his equipment. Despite his efforts to continue developing his device, Moore never received the necessary support to bring his invention to a commercial stage. After his death, the radiant energy device gradually disappeared from the public eye, and Moore's legacy faded into the shadows, leaving only an echo of what could have been a revolutionary energy source. Today, Moore's story remains one of the most mysterious in the field of alternative energy, and his invention, though forgotten by many, continues to be a subject of speculation and debate. Was his device truly a revolutionary invention that defied the known laws of physics, or simply a product of the imagination of a man trying to change the course of history? Number 5. The original electric car. In the late 1990s, an electric car called the EV1 burst onto the automotive scene, becoming the world's first mass-produced fully electric vehicle. Developed by General Motors, the EV1 was designed at a time when concerns about pollution, oil dependence, and the environmental effects of gasoline vehicles were on the rise. This innovative electric car offered a promising alternative to traditional vehicles, with impressive energy efficiency and cutting-edge design. The EV1 was initially launched in 1996 in a limited batch of 800 units available for lease, and quickly generated a group of devoted followers who considered it a step toward a cleaner, more sustainable future. Drivers of this vehicle praised its performance, advanced technology, and the feeling of being part of an energy revolution that could transform the automotive industry. However, in 1999, just 3 years after its launch, General Motors made the drastic decision to discontinue the EV1. The company argued that the vehicle was not profitable due to the limitations of its battery, which offered a relatively short range, making mass adoption difficult. According to GM, this made the EV one an unfeasible option for consumers who needed to make long trips frequently. But for many, this justification was insufficient. The end of the EV1 was marked by one of the most controversial decisions in automotive history. GM not only stopped producing the vehicle, but also launched a campaign to recover and destroy all remaining EV1s. The cars were confiscated from their owners, and most of them were destroyed, including vehicles that were still in perfect working condition. This measure was interpreted by many as a deliberate attempt to eliminate evidence of a technology that could have threatened the dominance of gasoline vehicles and, in particular, the oil industry. GM's cover-up was so thorough that the EV1 practically disappeared from collective memory, leaving no operational units in sight. However, the disappearance of this electric vehicle pioneer did not go unnoticed. The 2006 documentary Who Killed the Electric Car captured the rise and fall of the EV1, exploring the economic and corporate forces that influenced the elimination of this technology. It suggests that the oil industry and major automakers saw the EV1 as too great a threat to allow its proliferation and decided to stifle its progress before it could gain traction. Despite efforts to erase the EV1's legacy, the story of this car remains a symbol of what could have been the future of electric vehicles. The EV1 left a gap in the automotive industry, a gap that, though delayed, began to be filled by new electric car models more than a decade later. However, the fate of this automotive pioneer remains a mystery that fuels conspiracy theories and questions about the true power of the global energy industry. Number 4. Victor Sh Berger's perpetual motion. Victor Sh Berger, a name that resonates among history's visionaries, was a man ahead of his time. Born in Austria in 1885, Sh Berger was not only an inventor, but also a naturalist who dedicated his life to observing the hidden secrets in nature's processes. Rather than attempting to exploit natural resources, his goal was to understand and replicate them. This led him to a fascination with the idea of perpetual motion and the creation of devices that operated on the principles of nature itself, like a closed energy system that didn't require external sources. Throughout his life, Sh Berger was critical of modern engineering, which he believed ignored the subtleties of nature. One of his most impressive discoveries was the study of water, especially its ability to generate energy through spiral movements. Inspired by these natural patterns, Sh Berger developed the repulsor, a device that used a vortex of air or water to generate energy. Although his inventions were met with a mix of awe and skepticism, some saw them as the key to a clean, free, and inexhaustible energy source. However, what seemed to be the dawn of a new energy era soon faced powerful obstacles. During World War II, Sh Berger was pressured by the Nazi regime to apply his inventions for military purposes. This experience left him deeply disillusioned, but it did not stop his work. However, after the war, things grew even darker. He was arrested by US intelligence agents who interrogated him about his research and confiscated his prototypes. Theories suggest that his work, capable of revolutionizing energy generation, was seen as a threat by scientific, political, and economic powers. Despite its enormous potential, Sh Berger's technology never gained the recognition or mass application it deserved. Many of his discoveries were supposedly suppressed, fueling speculation about the interests that feared his work would alter the course of energy and world politics. Today, his legacy remains a fascinating enigma. Was he truly right in believing that nature itself offers the keys to infinite and clean energy, or was it an impossible dream? Number 3. Joseph Newman's energy machine. In the intricate history of the search for free and inexhaustible energy sources, few stories are as fascinating and mysterious as that of Joseph Newman and his energy machine. This device was promoted by Newman as a machine capable of generating more energy than it consumed, directly challenging the traditional laws of physics. Throughout his career, Newman embarked on a legal and scientific battle to prove the viability of his invention, a confrontation that became a hot topic of debate on the limits of science and free energy. Joseph Newman, a self-taught inventor from Mobile, Alabama, presented his machine in 1979, claiming that it harnessed principles similar to Einstein's famous equation, E in mc2. According to him, the machine was able to extract energy stored in matter, energy that was trapped in all things. This bold claim quickly caught the attention of the scientific community, sparking a series of disputes that would test his invention for years. The fact that the US Patent Office refused to patent the device was just the beginning of a legal battle that led Newman to gain the support of over 30 scientists, including some experts from NASA and others involved in the space program. These affidavits sought to legitimize Newman's claims, suggesting that his invention could revolutionize energy production and radically transform humanity. However, when the National Institute of Standards tested the machine, they concluded that it did not meet the expectations of overunity, the ability to generate more energy than it consumes. Newman, far from giving up, accused the officials of being biased and manipulating the test results. Despite his efforts to defend the validity of his invention, the scientific community remained generally skeptical. His attempts to patent the device were unsuccessful, and Newman's energy machine was relegated to a dark place in the annals of science history. Newman's story took an unexpected turn when, in 1987, he decided to run for President of the United States, basing his campaign on the premise that his research in energy could save humanity from extinction. After his death in 2015, his legacy lived on through the work of his followers, who continued to try to vindicate his invention. In the 2017 Science and Energy Technology Conference, a detailed report on Newman's motor was presented with the aim of inspiring a new generation to explore the limits of free energy. Although Newman's energy machine was never accepted or replicated by the scientific community, his story remains a fascinating subject of speculation. Was Newman a visionary whose invention truly had the power to change the world, or was he simply a man who could not overcome the barriers of a scientific system, unwilling to accept the unknown? Number 2. The Ogle Carburetor. In the 1970s, Tom Ogle, a self-taught mechanic from El Paso, Texas, burst onto the automotive scene with an invention that could have transformed the transportation industry: the Ogle Carburetor. Amid the oil crisis, when fuel efficiency had become a global concern, this revolutionary device promised to drastically improve car performance, allowing a single gallon of gasoline to travel over 100 miles. What made the Ogle Carburetor even more fascinating was its innovative design. Unlike traditional carburetors that mix air and fuel before combustion, Ogle's design eliminated the fuel pump and the carburetor itself, replacing them with a black box that vaporized the fuel before it entered the engine. This complete vaporization of the fuel allowed for more efficient combustion, which meant less gasoline was needed to move the vehicle, potentially reducing global dependence on oil and car emissions. In 1977, Ogle presented his 1970 Ford Galaxy, modified with this carburetor, and demonstrated the impressive fuel efficiency it achieved. The news made headlines, and his invention attracted the attention of major corporations and sponsors. But the automotive world's reaction was somewhat skeptical. Experts questioned how a carburetor with no significant modifications to the engine could achieve such results, while Ogle remained firm in his belief that his creation was the future. However, in 1981, Tom Ogle died suddenly and mysteriously at the age of 24. His death was attributed to a drug and alcohol overdose, but the circumstances surrounding his disappearance led to speculation. Some believe he was silenced due to the threat his invention posed to the giants of the oil industry, who saw it as a potential loss of millions in profits. Although Ogle's patents still exist, no manufacturer has incorporated his technology into commercial vehicles, and the Ogle Carburetor remains an unsolved mystery. Number 1. Water fuel cell. In the late 1980s, Stanley Meyer, an inventor from Ohio, revolutionized the concept of alternative energy with his water fuel cell. This device claimed to be able to split water into hydrogen and oxygen using a minimal input of electrical energy, employing an innovative technique based on resonant frequencies that was completely unknown at the time. Meyer showcased his invention in various demonstrations, and in one of the most striking, he demonstrated how a dune buggy could run entirely on water, using the gases generated by his cell to power the engine. Imagine a vehicle capable of traveling long distances with only water as fuel, whether it was rainwater, salt water, or even melted snow. This vision not only seemed like a dream come true, but also promised to provide a clean, abundant, and eco-friendly alternative to petroleum. News of the water fuel cell quickly spread, and Meyer became the subject of national media attention. However, the scientific community did not share the same enthusiasm. Many experts questioned the feasibility of his claims, accusing him of manipulating the results and failing to provide verifiable evidence to support his assertions. Despite the lack of scientific acceptance, popular excitement continued to grow, and several investors and followers attempted to replicate his technology. Tragically, on March 20, 1998, while dining at a restaurant, Meyer suddenly collapsed. He stood up, grabbed his throat, and screamed that he had been poisoned before collapsing. The official cause of his death was a brain aneurysm, but many of his followers suspected that his death was linked to his invention. Various theories suggest that his invention posed a direct threat to the global oil industry, which may have had reasons to eliminate him and prevent his technology from becoming public. After his death, the controversy surrounding Meyer's water fuel cell did not disappear. Various groups attempted to reproduce his technology, but to date, no one has managed to replicate the results he claimed to have achieved. Despite efforts to test the viability of his invention, the mystery and speculation about the water fuel cell persist, fueling theories that the technology was deliberately suppressed by powerful interests. I hope you have enjoyed this fascinating journey through some of the most mysterious and inspiring stories of technological innovation and its challenges. These inventions and visionaries, although in many cases forgotten or silenced, remain a testament to the power of human creativity and the constant struggle against the limits imposed by established interests. They leave us with an important lesson. True innovation often faces enormous obstacles, but its legacy endures, inspiring future generations to continue dreaming and challenging the status quo. Thank you for joining me on this journey, and don't forget that, although many of these inventions were halted, visionary ideas always find a way to come to light. See you next time.